Ooh. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Joel Friday TV. I am Joel Friday. Welcome to the show. A few announcements before we get started. Hit that like button. Smack it. Latest smackdown, like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we get the subscribers up and the message out. Do it now. Help a brother out. As you guys know, we are live Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Punchy.tv. And at any point during the show, you can call in at 888-775-3773, 888-775-3773. We can get into whatever you want. We can talk about it. We can agree. We can disagree. Whatever you want to do, you can do it by calling in. And if for whatever reason you can't call in, but you still have a question or comment, or you just want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV, or go directly to the YouTube live chat. Hit the super chat button there. Send your question or comments in, and I'll read them live on air. All right, I'll do that. What's today? Today's Monday. What does that mean? That's Grace and Mercy Mondays. You can't miss Grace and Mercy Mondays. That is where we get into all things faith and spirituality. That's what we do on Mondays. We get into it. That spiritual talk. But you know, first things first, I always got to give a little news, start off a little something light. And we're going to get into it. And we're going to get in today because I want to tell you why Christianity is the answer. I'm going to just explain why Christianity is the answer. We're going to get into it today. Shout out to chat across the board, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube chat. Appreciate you guys tuning in and showing love in the comments there. I appreciate it. With that being said, news anchor gives huge emphasis on huge warning to drivers in a specific area. Let me say it again. News anchor gives huge warning, huge, to drivers in a specific area. I want to get to that first. Here we go.
County Sheriff's Office, North Carolina State Highway Patrol, and the Hertford County Sheriff's Office are all responding. They're asking drivers to avoid Route 13 South and Barfield Road for now. We'll let you know when the road is clear again.
Hold up. For some reason, I didn't catch what she said. I didn't hear nothing that she said. Anybody else hear what she said? I couldn't hear. I can't quite tell you why I didn't hear or understand what she said, but I didn't catch it. I was distracted. Let me play it one more time so that way we can fully understand what she said.
County Sheriff's Office, North Carolina State Highway Patrol, and the Hertford County Sheriff's Office are all responding. They're asking drivers to avoid Route 13 South and Barfield Road for now. We'll let you know when the road is clear again.
I missed it again. What did she say? I didn't hear not a word she said. I keep trying to focus, but it's very hard to focus. All right? I'm just wondering, what did she say? Anybody else know what she said? I couldn't catch it. I tried a couple times. I thought maybe I play it for you guys and maybe you guys can catch the warning. Because she's giving us a huge warning. Okay? And it may help if we hear her out, but I can't seem to do it. The ladies in the chat are like, I don't get it. That's right, ladies. That's right. Well, then the ladies are the ones that need to translate the warning to us because us guys, we don't hear the warning. Chris said, honestly, I missed it both times. I'm just playing. It's just a joke. It's a joke. Calm down, ladies. I'm playing. I'm just playing. That's a very smart lady. Okay? Hold on, one more time, just in case y'all missed it.
County Sheriff's Office, North Carolina State Highway Patrol, and the Hertford County Sheriff's Office are all responding. They're asking drivers to avoid Route 13 South and Barfield Road for now. We'll let you know when the road is clear again.
Okay, I heard drivers. That's the only word. I heard drivers, so whatever she's saying to the drivers, just drivers. Just be aware, because that's all I could translate from the message. Okay. All right. I'm off that. This is a little funny joke to start off the show. All right. Let's get into the real stuff. Okay. A little bit of news I want to get into. Mark said, man, the news is good today. Let's get into it. So, listen, on a more serious note, RFK Jr., right? We know who RFK Jr. is. And callers, I see you on the lines. I will get you in a second. Be patient. Just hold while I get to a few things here. RFK Jr., he runs the Department of Health and Human Services in the Trump administration right now. Okay? And what he's been trying to do is banning food dyes, right? Saying that food dyes is the reason why a lot of the issues are happening within children and in adults, right? But it starts in children, and a lot of the foods, most of the foods that we eat, especially the ones we get from the grocery stores, have a lot of food dyes in it, which he believes is causing a lot of problems in America and in young children. We've been known this, but maybe not to the extent that I'm going to explain it. But I think we still kind of, for the most part, know. I mean, it's kind of obvious stuff that the food has been jacked up. You know what I mean? But I want to just point out a few things, and we're going to get into it. This is from Forbes on YouTube. A representative of RFK Jr. speaks on RFK's food dye ban. We're going to get into it. Here we go.
Today, the FDA is taking action to remove petroleum-based food dyes from the U.S. food supply and from medications. For the last 50 years, American children have increasingly been living in a toxic soup of synthetic chemicals. The scientific community has conducted a number of studies raising concerns about the correlation between petroleum-based synthetic dyes and several health conditions, such as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, obesity, diabetes, insulin resistance, cancer, genomic disruption, GI issues, as I've seen in the hospital, and allergic reactions.
So, you know what? Everybody kind of, for the most part, knew that this food dye, that's dye in food, has, or not even the dye, but just all this artificial, these flavors and everything has had an issue, right? We all know, and we all basically kind of sense that when we eat certain things that are unhealthy, we feel a certain way, right? But I don't think that we're fully aware of like what is causing these issues, right? Or why we have these issues, because it doesn't just happen right away. Over time, it snowballs into a bigger issue. And then at that point, we don't even recognize that it comes down to diet and stuff. I changed my diet around a very long time ago. I've recently changed it back to eating whatever I want recently. And now I have to get back on track. But I changed it around because of the fact that I would feel better when I would eat healthier and cleaner and stuff like that, right? But I didn't know too much about the dyes and the flavorings or any of that stuff. I just knew that I was more clear and sharper when I would eat cleaner foods. So, but I want to get into this really quick. All right, and then we have some other stuff to get into. This food dye, I don't know if you guys know where it originates from, but food dye comes from, it's called, at the root of it, it's called crude oil, right? So I'm going to explain a little bit how they make it. crude oil comes from the earth, right? They use this to make gas. They use this to make a bunch of things, right? But crude oil that comes from the earth, they get it and then they purify the oil. They purify it and then it turns into petroleum. And then from petroleum, they mix all kinds of chemicals and acids and all kinds of stuff into the petroleum, which is how you get the dye, right? And then from that dye is how they make all kinds of things. Crayons, they make color pencils, they use it for food and all those different things. And what it does is it boosts the nutritional appeal, obviously, right? It makes you just desire food more. And what it is just basically making food more attractive, right? You look at certain things and they have a bright color to them and you want them, right? Candy and chips. Well, maybe not chips. Well, yeah, chips too. Hot Cheetos, Takis. You know what I mean? All this kind of stuff that looks appealing. Cereal. I was victim. Listen, I was a child victim of artificial food dye, coloring and flavoring. Victim here. And it just looks more appealing. And what RFK wants to do is get rid of those dyes because those chemicals are what's causing kids to be, like they said in the video, ADHD, ADD, regular ADD, all type of like allergies, which I've had my entire life as well. A lot of different things that you don't really know is going into it. But what I think is this is, I don't think that it's just, I think that the bigger issue is not the food dye. Yes, get rid of the food dye, right? Because food is not supposed to be attractive. What the? It's the artificial flavoring. It's the flavoring that kind of moved, that like shifted the goalpost for society. Honestly, I think, in my opinion, I think it's the flavoring, because if you see something that looks attractive, doesn't necessarily draw you to it unless you know what it'll do for you, right? And what happens with artificial flavoring, it just tastes better, right? It makes you feel different, right? It gives you that little spike, that pleasure spike, and that's how they hook you, the artificial flavoring, and that's how they got me. So what I think that RFK, they should do, is ban the flavoring more than the dye too, but let's get to the flavoring. And I realize this, I say that to say, is that the reason why, and I want to say that like this, artificial flavoring is probably the smartest thing that anyone has ever done, ever. It's the smartest thing, but it's the most deceptive. And I want to explain. It's because artificial flavoring is, what it does is it awakens the ego, right? Right. What it does is awakening the ego, even the dye too as well. And this is Grace and Mercy Monday, so we got to connect it to the spiritual. We got to do it. Okay. If anybody is going to connect it, Joel Friday TV gonna connect it. Okay, is first off, we shouldn't make a big deal about this stuff anyway. If you want to eat a donut, eat a donut. If you want to eat a piece of candy, eat a piece of candy. Don't make a big deal out of it. Just do it. Blah blah blah. But I'm just saying that the way it's designed is crazy when I was thinking about it, because the flavoring, what it's doing is changing the flavor and changing the look of the food that you eat. What it's doing is it's awakening the ego. And now instead of feeding your hunger, you're feeding the ego. And this is why it's so smart, is because the ego is never satisfied. You cannot satisfy the ego, right? I'll give you an example. Let's just say you broke up. You're in a breakup, right? You broke up with somebody and you're just feeling it, right? You're depressed, and now you want to eat a bunch of pizza, right? Or whatever it may be. And these comfort foods, what they do is that they feed the ego. So it's not your stomach isn't what telling you that's full. It's waiting for your ego to tell you that it's full, right? And it takes a lot more food to fill your ego than it does your stomach, right? Because how many times have we ate food and we were full, but it was so good that we just wanted to keep eating, right? And that's why it's the smartest thing ever, because whoever invented this stuff knew that in order to really make the money, in order to really convince somebody of doing anything, we have to exploit them. And they did that by having to feed the ego. And all you're going to do is keep eating until you get some type of satisfaction. And that could be 2 boxes of pizza in. I'm telling from experience. So artificial flavoring is not made for nutrition, it's made for the ego, right? It's made to like work with the ego, satisfy the ego, and it'll make you want to buy it and make you get hooked, right? And the ego's never satisfied. So you might stop for a second, but best believe in a couple hours, you're going back to another 2 boxes. And I was thinking like, wow, that's so crazy. How'd that happen? How did we get here? But it's always been this way. Even in the Bible. And the Bible warned us against this. The Bible done told us. Proverbs 23, when you sit to dine with a ruler, note well what is before you, and put a knife to your throat if you are given to gluttony. Do not crave his delicacies, for that food is deceptive, right? So it's basically talking about when you go into the, back then, it was warned against when you would go into the king's home and he would serve you all this full plate of food, right? And you would see it and it had all the official flavor, all the food dye in it. It was just on steroids, looking so good, just making you drool, drip from the chin, right? Looked so good. What it was done back then is that when you ate it, it was meant to control. It was meant to deceive. It was meant to hook you, right? It was meant to exploit you so it can use you for personal gain, right? So it wasn't there, and that's why it said in the scripture for that the food is deceptive. Do not crave its delicacies, because once it gets you, once you get hooked, you'll be crawling back for more, and that's how they were using people. That's how they were deceiving people. Right? And I realized that Christianity, the reason why I love Christianity is because now knowing this stuff, it keeps you from turning into like a nutcase about it, right? And when I say nutcase, I mean like turning into the person where you're doing research on everything. You're looking into all the stuff on everything. And now you're changing your diet around. And now that you're doing 20 different cleanses, and now you're taking 50 different vitamins, and now right? You become a nutcase about health. You don't want to do that either, right? You don't want to demonize it too much to where you get out of control. And what I love about Christianity is it just helps you it just guides you by the light, and you just kind of have common sense about these things. And you'll know when something's off. You'll know when it's time to just change your life around. And not that it's bad to like look at, the ingredients and know what you're eating and stuff like that. Yeah, that can help. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I found that has helped me the most, what is just avoiding certain things, just because me paying attention, how those things affect my mood, affect my energy, right? And that was just because I was paying attention, and it was made clear to me that was the case. But it allowed me just to keep it simple, right? And not get into this crazy diet or like overdo it, because diets are hard to sustain if you go too hard on a diet. You don't want to do that. You just want to just be aware of yourself and know what you got to just make it easy for yourself. Make it easy. That way you can sustain it and not like stress out about keeping a strict diet. Make it easy. Just do the simple solution one step at a time, and then you'll know when you can do more, right? That way it lasts. You know what I mean? So you just want common sense. Come back to common sense, and then everything will just fall into place. But interesting. I thought it was kind of interesting too. I have some more stuff. But I'm with RFK though. I think RFK is doing a good thing. He's looking into this stuff. I think that there's a lot of things that are more spiritual than all this stuff, but I think that it's good. We need to get rid of these chemicals that are in the food. You got to get rid of all these artificial flavors. And listen, I ain't no better than anybody who indulges in these things. I had some cookies yesterday. Artificial flavoring it up. But when I looked into this stuff, I'm like, whoa, I didn't know it was that deep. And I have like allergies all over the place. And I'm sure some of the sweets that I like are not helping at all. So just food for thought. No pun intended. I'm going to get some calls and I'll come back to some. I got some more stuff. I got some more stuff right there. Lizzo said, is he, Joel? Is RFK doing a good job, Joel? That's funny. Let me go to Kyle out of Boston, Mass. Kyle, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Well,
how's it going, Kyle?
very good. Am I coming in? Fine.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Am I right?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, I appreciate you and Hake and American Anchor Baby and JLP and everything that you guys are doing. Of course.
Right on.
I was just watching, the Hake Report and I watch your show like recently, and it's just I like the poise that you guys keep, even with callers that are very evil.
Yeah.
Like angry, weak men that call in. So I think it's cool that you guys like let them go, and I think that's a very cool thing that that you guys do, where you don't get upset at any caller, let alone like those ones.
Right on.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Appreciate it, Kyle.
But yeah, no, absolutely, and it makes me happy that you bring up RFK, because I'm only 28, but at my Cape House, where my grandpa he didn't deploy, but he was enlisted in the Air Force. He enlisted himself in the Air Force like everyone else did in World War II, wherever they could. He was in the Air Force, and luckily he didn't have to go. But he is a beautiful portrait of JFK. And when I was a kid, I didn't really understand, like, why would you have that picture? And now that we have RFK on Trump's team, and I'm older now, obviously.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild to see, because of once you get older, you understand history more. Now that we have the internet too.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild what JFK was trying to do and why he was killed. He was trying to warn everyone that even if you try to shut the Federal Reserve down, there's a enormous network of people bloodlines that, will try to strike someone like me down. I feel like he almost knew that he was going to be killed after the Bay of Pigs.
It's interesting.
And RFK, his nephew, and I grew up in the Cape, right near the Kennedys, as well. And RFK, what you're bringing up, it seems as though he's a real patriot that won't be compromised. And it's a beautiful thing that he's there. I mean, he's with Trump, and he's trying to wake everyone up, and all I can say is I just think it's a great thing. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I think that he's trying to do what he believes is best when it comes to what he's been, what's been given him to do, which is take care of the health department, and he's doing the best that he can. And I believe he's looking into autism and why kids have autism and stuff like that. These are questions that people have had, and it's nice when you have somebody who is trying to, and we'll see what he actually does. We'll see what he actually comes up with, and we'll see what, results come from it. But these are questions, these are real questions that people have that people are curious about and would like to know whether they do anything about it or not. But these are things that are issues that have gotten worse over time. So it's nice to know, regardless of what the results are going to be, it's nice to know that somebody's there is actually trying to get to the bottom of this stuff, whether it's they really do and they actually get to it or whatever.
Right.
It's still nice.
Right. Yeah. No. 100%. And isn't it cool that we have Trump in office? I mean, they've been trying to shoot at him. They keep missing.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
A shout out to our commander in chief. But they keep doing that. They tried to shoot at RFK's uncle, and they got him. But now his nephew is with Trump, and
right.
It seems like they don't like that. These. I'm not gonna go conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
It's like they don't like them two together, and but it seems like it's working. Where I think it's because of the internet. Have you ever heard of the Age of Aquarius?
No, I haven't.
So the Age of Aquarius was said by tons of historians and astrologers and astronomers that were kicked out of academia for the last 100 years, to start around 2012 or 2016, where because the last age astrologically was Pisces. Now this is Aquarius that we're going into, which is the age of information. So it's where it's like the age of innovation and revolution of technology, of I think it's going to be a revivification of the church.
I agree.
Where the Rome,
I agree.
Because the church was corrupted so bad. You know what I mean? It was corrupted so bad.
Yeah.
That you know what I'm saying? It seems as though the youth is kind of waking up to, wow, we really need to be conservative and question these.
You make a good point.
Organizations.
You're making a good point here, Kyle, that I believe to be true. I've definitely sensed it as well, as that there is a shift that's happening. I'm not too aware with the Aquarius and information age thing, but that makes a lot of sense to me, because we have a trillions of, probably not that much, but a lot of podcasts that are now coming about. Like YouTube is over,
No, trillion.
Yeah, it's really
a high number.
Yeah, I know it's a high number, But the point is that like people are now online talking, and that's, you know, even if it's oversaturated, at least information is getting out there, and
Right.
the information to the right person will make a difference. So there is a shift that's happening, and you know, I'm glad that the internet is there to make these things available and easy accessible to people who need it. But I gotta run,
Absolutely.
Kyle. I appreciate it. Good points, and got some more calls to get to.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
There we go, man.
All right, you too. I'm gonna keep moving the calls, and interesting stuff. Let me go to Josh out of Georgia. Josh, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, what's going on, man?
How's it going, Josh?
Going well.
Right on.
Yeah. Have you ever, about the nutrition stuff you were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
have you ever heard of the placebo effect?
No, what is that?
It's like where doctors have found that if they give a patient a pill that has like that has, and if they give a patient a pill and they tell the patient that this is going to fix your headache, the patient just thinks that this is going to work because the doctor told them that, and it actually they get better. It actually works because the person thinks that that they're you know, like it's like the thoughts that, you know, we always talk about, right?
I believe it.
Yeah. So like nutrition seems to be like that too, you know, like I mean, do you if it works, if it makes you feel like I'm eating healthy, and your body, you know, I wonder if it may make your body better, but also there's like you disagree with the whole argument about water, like drinking a lot of water. We've been brainwashed into doing that, right?
Well, I mean, I think we definitely been brainwashed to like, I mean, just like I was saying, we when we hear about things, we turn into a nutcase about it, and we just take it too far. So I do believe that's happening, but I don't think water is a bad consumption. But go ahead.
You know, okay, because I drink a lot of water, and I feel good. I feel good about myself after it because I've been taught that.
Yeah, I get that.
To the point where, like, I don't know, it could be a lie, but you know, I mean that was I don't know. That's the thing with nutrition. It's like I think I guess the main point is this: spiritual. If the spiritual health is right, then the physical will fall into place, right? No matter what you eat, right?
Yes. You know, and I want to. Oh, go ahead. Finish your point.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like, if you look at Trump, right? Me and Chris were just talking about this in the chat. Like, Trump is like, he doesn't look that healthy, but he seems spiritually full of energy and sharp as a tack, you know?
Right.
So it's like maybe food doesn't really matter, you know. Maybe if we just focus on the spiritual, everything else will fall into place.
Well, I think, I think that there's a bit of both. I think that you're right with the placebo thing. I think that is 100% correct. I believe that to be true because of the fact that like we are justified by our faith in what we believe in. What you believe in is what actually can come true. So if you believing that this pill is going to help you, it's really your belief in it that is doing the healing, right? Less about the pill. But I do think there's an element of the effects that certain things does have going into your body because it can like create like a poison, or it can fight against those natural like receptors in our bodies that is used to protect ourselves against all the harm that certain things can do. But there are certain foods that break down those receptors to where they can no longer fight on our behalf. And that's when we get all these diseases and stuff like that. So I think that, it does help to, you know, Jesus came, and that's what they called him when he came here. They said, how are we going to believe this glutton and drunkard, right? Because he drank wine and he ate food. He wasn't sitting up there on a diet, you know what I mean? And he was drinking wine. So it wasn't that this stuff was made a big deal, but at the same time, his common sense of just knowing not to eat too much, but also knowing like, okay, I'm not gonna go over there and eat this or this or this. He was just wise in what to and not to do, basically is what I'm saying. So I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay. Interesting, man. Interesting, because I kind of, well, yeah, it's like it like applies to everything. Like I know a lot of people move to L.A. just for the sunlight, and it makes that makes them feel good.
Yeah.
You know, and like elderly people, they move to Florida or Southern California just to feel good, whereas gloomy, rainy up northern weather that really and it hurts their health. You know, it really like works. So that was all. That was the point I just wanted to make, and you know,
fair enough.
Play a big role.
A major role, probably the most important one for sure. But I appreciate it, Josh. Thank you, man.
Okay, no problem, man. Thank you, man. Yep.
Yeah, they call Jesus a drunkard and a glutton because he would go and like he would eat whenever he wanted. He wouldn't he would feast and do all kinds of stuff that was like forbidden for like religious people to do. And he would do whatever, right? Because that's just a whole thing. It's a whole nother thing, right? Because all that affects your mind. But if you aren't caught up in your thoughts, then you have more of a freedom to eat what you want because it's not gonna affect your mind. But if you're a person who is caught up in your thoughts, right, and in your feelings and all that stuff, all these type of foods do add to it, right? It makes it you just become more attached to your thoughts and your feelings, and food adds to that, right? So the purpose of eating cleaner is so you don't have those temptations to get lost up in your thoughts and your emotions, and you make it easier for yourself by staying away from those things, right? So it just protect, and your body is not made to have everything all the time. You can't just eat pizza till you die. You know what I mean? So you just want to have a balance. You don't want to demonize this stuff, but some of this stuff is kind of poison. Let me go to Jaime out of Minnesota. Jaime, welcome to the show. You're on the air. Yo. Jaime.
Go on, Joel.
How's it going, man?
It's going good. Hey, I want to talk to you about that RFK guy.
Oh, okay, right on.
Maha, make America healthy again. That's my kind of guy, you know.
Yeah, I like that.
I've been kind of health conscious my whole life, but I've had that yo-yo effect, you know, with food and depression and anxieties and all that kind of stuff. My mom and dad, they didn't teach me how to take care of myself right. The schools failed me, everything. But I tried, you know, I tried hard, you know, to figure it out. But with for apologizing for the anger, that was the big leap forward I had to do in order to understand everything else and, you know, of living life.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people eat their feelings, you know.
Exactly.
So even if you give them the best supplement plan, the best nutrition plan, the best meal plan, it ain't going to work most of the time.
Yeah.
You know? So number one is the spiritual side. And, you know, Jesus, he came to do that, to heal spiritually, but also to help heal the body.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of the stuff, you know, it says in the Bible, he anointed with oils and clay and all this other stuff. Now, the anointings, Jesus knew about frankincense, myrrh. He knew about spikenard. He knew about a lot of other ones.
Yeah.
And guess who doesn't talk to us about that? Who should be? The church.
Right.
They don't teach you about the healing effects of smelling those smells and having those molecules enter your body.
Yeah.
Why? Because they hate us. They hate us. It's the only reason.
Yeah.
But Maha, RFK, you see him doing all them pull-ups. He's 70-something years old.
What's his
that's
diet
somebody.
like? What's his diet like? Do you know?
I don't, but I tell you this: I know his supplement style is. He's on He's already said on interviews that he's on testosterone replacement therapy, which is good. You need to your things like that. They should have taught you in health class. You know, as you age, your T levels they decrease by 1% after 40 years old. So men like me, you know, I'm 37. Probably, I assume that caller that you just had, he sounds like he's a little older. He sounds a little sluggish. Supplements would really help that guy out, especially like a brain supplement. You know, they got a lot of different.
Do you think that I question supplements, and I'm not saying they're bad. Yeah. I don't know, right? But I just wonder. I just question about these things. It's like, what is missing that we need to be replaced? You know what I mean? Why do we need to add? Why do we need to add supplements to our lifestyle, which obviously is more money and more time? What are we missing that we need to add?
Well, the food isn't what it used to be. It's
right.
Empty, or it's half or less than what it used to be. Right now, you could eat healthy like people used to 100 years ago. If you eat the same foods, it's not the same food because it's not grown in the same time.
Right.
But your stomach's going to get full, so your stomach isn't going to be able to digest everything. The more you put in your stomach, the less you're going to digest. So say you eat a full meal, it's going to take hours for your stomach to digest it, and some of it ain't going to get digested by the end because your bile isn't going to break it down. Now, if you eat small meals, like they say, you know, some people say, you eat small meals all throughout the day. Yeah. Everything's getting digested. Boom, boom. You're pulling everything. Boom, boom, boom. And that's why they say that. So that's why we're not getting everything. That's what I mean. Big meals.
Well, that's what I think that we should be. I'm not saying supplements are bad. I'm just saying that like we should like start getting to. Like, we should also let's do both, right? You want to do both? I mean,
Yeah.
But like
do both. Like, Can I tell you what I do?
Yeah, I just want to say really quick is that like also like start making things, maybe start trying to figure out ways to make things from scratch from the beginning. I'm not into it because I mean that takes a lot of work, but like at some point the things that we're missing are the things that are actually natural, that come with those natural things that the body needs. So we should kind of do both, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, if I could make a point on that, that's what women used to do. You know, men would go out to work like me, you know, we're out at work, we're doing heavy work, right?
Yeah.
And then our women, they're supposed to be getting the herbs, the spices. They're supposed to be castinating it. They're supposed to be boiling the nutrients out of the roots so that they can marinate our meats in it. You know what I'm saying? So that we can have those nutrients.
Yeah.
They don't do that.
Yeah. See, all that stuff is being exactly. We need to return to all that.
They don't teach that anymore.
Yeah. Good point.
And you're right. We got to do it. I'm starting to learn it myself, how to do it for myself, because I can't expect my wife to do it. She grew up in the same era as I did.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm trying to lead her in that by showing her what I'm doing and doing it and that. Anyways.
Nice.
We're talking about not just me and you, because me and you, we forgave, we apologized, we're hip to what's going on around us. The other people, the sheep, they don't know any better for themselves, and they ain't gonna, because they're never gonna forgive and they're never gonna apologize, so they're gonna be stuck. Right?
Well, hopefully they turn away and can be, but not everybody's going to do that. So that's true. Not everybody's going to be interested in that. And all you can do is focus on you. I'm running out of time though here, Jaime. So I can't continue, but
yeah.
Good points about the food and all that stuff. And call me again, man.
Robert FK, he's on supplements, the good ones. You know?
Fair enough.
Not the major bad ones.
Yeah. There's some there's some decent ones out. There's some decent supplements out there that do come from natural things or natural vitamins that can be helpful. So I do agree with that. Fair enough, man. Thank you.
Another day.
All right, we'll get into it. All right, guys. I'm gonna get to man. I just have stuff. Let me go to Phil, first time caller out of Philadelphia. Phil, welcome to the show. We're on the air. You're on the air.
How's it going?
All is well, Phil. How are you?
No, I'm very good. I love how you guys do it, and I want to say though, why do you think that Donald Trump is good?
Why Donald Trump is what?
Is a good, like a net positive for our country?
Because I think that he's very realistic. I think that he's very common sense oriented, and I think that he's also very practical. And a lot of the issues that I've seen, there's a bunch of issues that are going on within America, but a big one is government spending, and Donald Trump knows how to deal with money. So I love the fact that that's his strength. That one of his strengths that he brings to the White House is the fact that he can handle money, so we can get out of the debt. But also, tax dollars and stuff are going to all kinds of crazy places. So he's in there to help that out. But also, he just common sense. He's more realistic. He's not a politician, and because of that, he can make more sound, smart decisions that the people always wanted politicians to make.
What has he done for? What about minority? Because are you a black? You're a black man.
I'm mixed, but yeah, I'm mostly black.
Because I'm a white trans person. I don't
white
know,
trans.
Yeah, I don't know if has he done a lot for the LGBTQ. I saw that he took something down in Washington.
Well, it's not. He don't need to be doing nothing for LGBTQ or anything like that. He's just doing things for people in general.
Why?
Because he should be doing things for people. That's selfish for any specific group to say, "Oh, what are you doing for LGBT? What are you doing?" It's about what he's doing for people. It applies to all people, not any specific group.
Even if it intersects with black people and trans and
but what is
the LGBT?
But what does trans or black issues have to do with government in America? What does that have to do with anything?
Well, I mean, it's all about democracy. I'm just saying democracy, which was what our country was founded on. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I'm saying.
Right, but that's about the people. It's not about individual groups, right? You're a person, right? I'm a person. You're trans that you say, well, that's not who you are, but that's what you're into. And I identify with heterosexual. Either way, I'm a person, you're a person, and that's who our government should be working for, right?
Right, you beautiful men over there, like. You guys, I watch you guys, and I know that you don't hate us, for what we are, but when you shut down the lights of LGBTQ in Washington D.C., doesn't that seem to be kind of a little bit too provocative?
What do you mean by shut down the lights?
In Washington D.C., I think they shut down the lights. And there was gay lights. There's gay lights.
Gay lights. Are you trolling?
There's I'm trolling. I'm sorry. All right. I'm sorry.
What the? Were you trolling me this whole time? You're not no trans.
All right, brother. No.
What the? What a mess. I wasted 5 minutes. But there are people who believe like that. And what is Donald Trump doing for the gays? He's not supposed to be doing anything for the gays. He's not supposed to be doing anything for the blacks specifically. He's supposed to the government is supposed to work for all people. Right? Right? That's just what I'm saying. I don't know what's up with Phil. What the? But anyway, one thing I want to say really quick before I end, I have to mention is that I hear callers and I hear people calling to JLP show and I hear people at church and people call my show the different shows. And one thing I want to say, because I was one of these people, so I understand it, but I want to just mention it as just some food for thought. Whether you're male or female, don't be so desperate for the truth. Don't be so desperate for peace that you lie to yourself and you pretend that you have it when you don't. I hear people all the time saying, I'm no longer angry, I'm no longer angry. And if you're not, amen, hallelujah. But make sure that that's true and you're not just believing something because you're so desperate to live a different life. You know what I mean? Be honest, and there's peace in honesty. I'm telling you, there's peace in being honest with yourself. If you still find yourself getting a little angry here and there, to be straight up, be real about that. There's peace in that, opposed to trying to pretend that it's not happening. Because what you're doing is that God can't help you overcome if you allow the devil to deceive you in thinking you have. You want to always be, that's why, and that's speaking of Trump, that's one of the reasons why I love Trump too, is that you want to just be real. You want to be real, right? Even if the realness makes you feel weak, if the realness makes you feel less than, if it makes you feel like you're nobody, whatever it may be, you still want to be real, right? Because that way God can recognize that and work with you. So don't be so desperate for peace that you're willing to lie and be in denial about your certain situation that you're in. Be real about it all the time. Be straightforward with yourself mainly. And that way you can truly overcome and God can work on it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Anyway. I'm going to check Super Chats really quick, and then I got to end here, and I got like a minute. We have Walmart Tavius. I eat 1 meal a day of Chipotle every day, and I lost about 15 pounds in 5 weeks so far. It's cheap, healthy, and good. Yeah, I like Chipotle. You can even do better than Chipotle if you wanted to, but Chipotle is a good choice. It's a good substitution. If you're eating greasy Mexican food all the time and then you substitute it for like a Chipotle, you're doing better, right? So I'm with you on that. But what I think that we're talking about here from the calls and stuff is that when you start making food from scratch at home, right, and you're the one that's putting the ingredients together, then that's when you actually know you're going to get all the nutritional value for one. Well, unless you actually grow it. You won't get actually the full nutrition unless you're actually growing these things, right? But at least if you make it from scratch, you know they're not going to put any extra stuff in it, extra grease, extra steroids, and you know what you're getting. So the point is to start cooking more helps a lot, and you save money. But just do what's practical. And if right now eating Chipotle is more practical for you, just to make substitute choices, start there. That's what I did for most of my life. Instead of eating chili cheese fries, go to Chipotle. It's a better choice, right? You go to In-N-Out, you love In-N-Out. Instead of getting cheese on it, get no cheese, right? And just make steps that are sustainable and easy. You want it to be easy or you ain't going to be able to keep it. So right on Walmart Tavius, I agree. Let me see. Hold up. Oh, you guys better. Oh, I'm out of time. And don't take a little walk. Don't underestimate the walk, y'all. Listen, a good walk, 45 minutes, gets you right. Ask Hake. Hake lost a lot of weight by eating better, right? But if I'm not mistaken, he would just walk every day. And that'll do it. You don't got to just run 8 miles every day in order to get healthy. Come on. Make it easy for yourself. I got to end though. American Anchor Baby's coming in right now. Make sure you guys tune in. Punchy TV at 2 p.m. Brand new episode. Make sure you guys don't miss it. Until next time, y'all, I'll be back here tomorrow and we'll get into some more stuff. I appreciate it. Gotta go. Bye.
Steve, thank you for calling and thanks for holding. How have you been helped